was once a very simple process. We'd put a few posters outside a cinema, maybe a couple of billboards in the local streets, and then the odd advert on TV to generate interest, and that was it. Social media has changed all of that. Social media has changed the way we communicate with each other and the way we tell people about the things that we like. And potentially, if you're not using social media, you stand to lose not only thousands and thousands of viewers coming to see your films, but ultimately revenue from people not coming and spending money at the cinema. So we absolutely need to be using social media. And I believe there are three possible uses of social media. Number one is you can use social media just like Georgia Hilton, who we interviewed about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and she's actually making a movie called Subconscious. And this is a movie, it's based on a submarine. It's a $1 million movie that's being made for $75,000, and she raised $25,000 of that using social media techniques. And they raised that $25,000 in 2 weeks, I think it was. So you can be like Georgia, where you have social media working for you in an excellent way, and it was planned and strategically set about. Or you could be using it in the second way, and that is spending 20 or 22 hours a day on Facebook, Twitter, and all the other social media tools that we have, and getting absolutely nowhere, and all you do is waste time. The third way is that you don't use it at all because you don't understand what social media is. Well, if you're in the second or the third category, then this webinar today is absolutely designed for you. And if you're in the first category and you're using social media well, you might want to jump in and join us and share your techniques and secrets with us as well. So if you're using the second or third category, welcome to today's webinar. I have an amazing guest with me. Amelia Belle has come to me highly recommended. And but before I introduce her to you, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's sent me emails over the last couple of weeks as we prepare for this conversation today. This is actually an epic moment for me. This is my first time ever to use a Google Hangout with the plugins that we're using. So we've had a few technical problems. I know some of you have been driven insane by getting multiple emails, and I apologize for that. And thank you for understanding and bearing with me. And I know also for some of you that the timer was jumping backwards and forwards as well. This is a brand new software, and we're working with the programmers to put it all right. So thank you for understanding, and apologies for all the annoying little emails that were coming in, and we'll try and get it sorted out as soon as possible. I am Tim Bennett. I'm from Argonet.com and the Film Finance Club, and you can see more about that at Argonet.com. And I'm very happy to introduce you today to Amelia Belle. Amelia has come recommended very highly, and I'm going to let her introduce herself because she knows more about what she's been doing than anything. And we're also being joined by the one and only Matthew Donaldson from The First Out. He's around in the scenes behind Amelia as well, so he might jump in too. Hi, Matthew, if you can hear me. And Matthew was also one of my guests recently in the interview. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Amelia Belle. Amelia, welcome to our chat today, how to market a film with social media.
Thank you, Tim. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited. I've actually been working in social media marketing for the past 4 years on a nonprofit type level, which is very difficult because marketing itself leads to believe it's money. Money is being put back and forth between clients and customers, and it's hard to determine if social media is working if you're a nonprofit. So I've been doing a lot of research over the past years on developing evaluation methods on how to determine if social media campaigns are working or not, and that's more of on a nonprofit level. So as I was doing the nonprofit work, all the research I had to do led to the marketing and the actual for-profit type work that I've been getting into, and now I'm heavily into the film marketing aspect of it. I went to UC Santa Barbara and got a double major in psychology and theater and a minor in education because I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And then all of a sudden marketing came into my life, and that's where I'm at. That's where I'm moving on from here. So today's webinar, I just hang out, is going to be a basic introduction to some of the really important techniques on marketing, generally marketing social media in a lot of different aspects. But I'm going to bring in examples from some fantastic viral marketing film campaigns. That is one particularly that I'm sure most of you have already heard of, and we'll get to that at the end because that's actually really fun. It's going to be really cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen.
Okay,
so
and while you're getting ready to do that, I'd just like to share with everyone as well that for those people who are who have joined the webinar and registered for the webinar, Amelia is also going to share a PDF with all of you for free, and we'll send that to you. By when do you think, Amelia, will that be finished and ready to go?
And
okay,
have it.
We lost you a bit there. What, sorry, say again? I think it's yours.
I'll be able to send that off to you today.
Okay, great. So by the end of today, you should be getting an email from myself with a free PDF all about social media and how to use it with your films. And for those in the replay, if you're listening to the replay and you want a copy of that, just send me an email at tim@argon.com.ph and I will get that sent to you as well, so you don't miss out. So over to Amelia.
Fantastic. So is my screen shared okay? Can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yep, I can see that great. And there is a chat box as well, or there should be a chat box on the console for the audience. If you have a question, feel free to type that in, or you could send me an email again at tim@argon.com.ph. And if you have any questions, I'll get those to Amelia. And if you see me looking around like this all the time, it's because I've got 3 or 4 screens around me, and I'm checking them for different things. So, okay, over to you, Amelia.
Fantastic. And yeah, again, Tim, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be working with you right now. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I work with Matthew Donaldson, who, again, was on Tim's show not too long ago. And we are starting a company called Belle Hammer, which is dedicated to the art, the story, and the people making it. So we do many different things, different services that we provide to filmmakers across anywhere that you need help with. We do crowdfunding consultation, producing marketing trainings, coachings, public speaking, and lots more. So if you need any of that or you need help with anything, please feel free to email me. Down at the bottom is my email address. It's amelia@bellehammer.com. And then I'm also available on Facebook. I also act as well. So that Miss Amelia Belle page is my actor page. A little bit of a shameless plug right there for my acting part side of my life, which is fun. Shakespeare's my favorite. I've been doing Shakespeare a majority of my life. So moving on to our first question.
All right, and the first question is, what's the best way to keep a brand consistent when using social media?
So thanks. So there's obviously many different ways to keep your brand consistent, but one of the most important aspects of a consistent brand is having a recognizable logo and image. I know that may seem a little strange for a movie, but if you look on the image on the right-hand side there, this is actually from a distribution company in Los Angeles called BLT and Associates. And these are the different movies that they distribute, that their company distributes. And they are so confident in their ability to market films, they don't even put the names of these films on the front page. This is their homepage image, and they don't even put the names of them because they know that you will know them. And I guarantee that you know a lot of these. Like the bottom left-hand corner, I'm sure you recognize, is Avatar, and then the upper left-hand corner is World War Z, which of course just came out. And over on the left-hand side are Pixar's images. So it's critical to have that one logo for either your company or for your movie that people know right away is yours. And then to keep it consistent across the different social media channels. So along with that, it's important that you have a home base online. So, and preferably it's a website that you can get with a vanity URL. So so for the film that I'm marketing with Matthew Donaldson, we're doing The First Out, and of course one of the first things that we needed to do was to get thefirstout.com before anybody else swiped that up. So there's a handy little website that you can go to called NameCheck, and it's right there. And I'm actually going to see if I can do this and have it work. So can you see that okay, Tim?
Yep, I can see that. Fantastic.
Awesome. So let's just say you have a new movie that you have coming out. It's called, I don't know, Holland in Halloween. And you want to have Holland Halloween. Halloween, I don't know, something like that. I'm just making this up. So you put in whatever username you want to use across the different platforms, and then it goes through each of these social media platforms and lets you know if that's available or not. So instead of going to each one and trying to see if it's free or not, this little tool gives you a really quick and easy way to see if it's available across the different channels.
That's
so if
really
you want to
awesome.
make a movie, yeah, I love this tool. It's one of my favorites.
Because
So,
I do it the other way. I do it the way you were just saying don't do it. I go and check each one individually.
which is fine. It's just a little bit more time consuming.
Yeah.
And you want to be sure to pick a handle for your movie that is both recognizable and is also it's recognizable and also is available across the different channels. So namecheck.com, there's a few other tools that you can use for that, but that's the one that I use the most. So keeping that image and also name consistent across the different social media channels.
Amelia, can I just jump in at this point?
Please, yeah.
Also with a small tip is that some people use services like GoDaddy to do searching for websites.
Yeah.
That are available, and GoDaddy has a very bad habit of buying the domain from underneath you if you don't register it straight away.
Yes.
So if you use one of those services and you don't buy it, don't be surprised if you go back and it's gone.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
this is an ideal service to use because they're not actually buying domains or selling domains, they're actually sharing information. And also another tip is that if you delay in buying the name that you want, people jump on them and then hope that you will go and buy, that you will want them and go and buy it from them. They elevate the price from the $10. I know when I was after Argon.com, they were trying to charge me $250,000, and I didn't get it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem fair. I think, there's a lot of that goes on with websites these days. So being creative with your name and also being a little laxed and not getting the exact name that you want is something that may happen. So another tip that I have is to create the strategy beforehand. So that I have in a few slides I'll be talking a little bit about how to do a social media strategy for online marketing, and it's just some basic steps as to where instead of just plunging in and not really knowing where to go, I recommend creating a strategy around this model that I'll be showing you in a little bit. So it's important to have that basic structure before getting started.
And can I make another note? I'm just getting a couple of emails from a few people who said that the countdown clock ended and they joined partway into the discussion here today. Apologies for that. As I said, it is a fairly new software that we're using, and we're working with the developers to improve it. So thanks for the feedback. But the first few minutes was just introduction, so I don't think you've missed too much. And of course, there will be a replay and we'll send you the link to that as well. So thanks for bearing with us. On you go, Amelia, sorry.
Yeah, so here we're on the second question now.
Yeah, the second question is, how do you cater marketing campaigns online?
So when we have a great product, a great film, a great idea, it's important that we utilize social media and have campaign ideas set out set out on there. So it's not just us spewing random information onto a page like Facebook, and then not having much interaction, not sure what's going on. You can do many different campaigns, whether it's a contest or a story, getting people to write their own stories. But it also is important to make sure that those campaigns are catered to your audience. So the first point when it comes to marketing, catering marketing campaigns, is to specifically know what audience you are trying to target. And I do mean target audience. We're talking very specific niche groups of people that we want to reach with our film. And we can create campaigns based on who those audiences are and what their interests are. So, for example, we're doing for the first out, it's a LGBT baseball movie, and right there we have two very niche audiences that we can target. The first one, of course, is baseball fans. So we can create campaigns that are specifically catered towards the baseball community, and then, of course, the LGBT community. So we have two different audiences that require two different types of marketing campaigns. And it really is important to do the research when it comes to your audiences, because we don't want to throw out a campaign online and have it not get anywhere because we don't know what our target audience is about. So there are free tools on Facebook that allow you to ask questions and conduct surveys with your fan base. And my recommendation is just to ask them, what are they interested in? As an LGBT community, what are their interests? As a fan, a baseball community, what do they want to get out of it? So focus groups and surveys are a great way to find out what those audiences are doing. And also, we need to consider age. Someone who is, like I say here, is 66 is not going to react to a campaign that's designed for a 23-year-old online. It's very possible that if we decide to use QR codes, which stands for quick response codes, a 66-year-old may not, I'm not saying will not, I said may not know what a QR code is, whereas a lot of 23-year-olds probably do. So we need to be sure that we cater our campaigns to fit the audience that we have done our research about.
I think that's really important what you're saying there. And, I was actually I just got back from Davao Island yesterday morning, and as we were flying, Jane and I were going past some billboards on the side of the road with QR codes on it as well. And the billboard was maybe 20 or 30 meters away, and I actually held up my scanner to see if they would work. And we couldn't read it. And I was like, well, what's the point of putting a QR code on the billboard if it's not going to work?
Absolutely.
So, not only do we need to target to our audience, but also the advertising that we do should be appropriate to the space and the environment that it's within.
Absolutely. Test marketing, that QR code is absolutely critical to be sure that it works. Otherwise, it's silly.
So just to recap on the first two parts of what we've been discussing so far, the first part we were talking about branding and making your branding consistent so that people immediately recognize it. And I think a really great example of this is like the Batman logo or the Superman logo or Michael Jackson. If you see his feet, it's Michael Jackson. You don't need to say, I wonder who this is. And to carry that branding throughout everything you do, from your website to your advertising to your marketing campaigns, so that people can latch on to it. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And then secondly, when you're doing your marketing campaigns, to make your campaign consistent with the audience that you're trying to attract.
Yep.
Okay?
That's perfect.
Actually, Georgia Hilton was actually talking about this. One of the things that she was doing, and I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here with your presentation, but one of the things that she was doing, as she was doing the polls and asking questions, she was even asking them, would you like the guide to be blonde or dark-haired? Would you like him to have glasses or no glasses? And she was actually building characters based on what the audience wanted rather than what she thought they wanted.
That's awesome.
She was getting feedback. And this was one of the ways that she raised the $25,000 in the 2 weeks, was that she had this group of people who were actually connected and responding and answering questions and being involved in the actual movie. So they actually felt part of her movie.
Yeah, I really like that. It's beautiful because then the audience is way more inclined to have a connection with the film and see it and share it because they actually had a part to play in its creation. That's brilliant.
Absolutely. And you know, even if you got your name in a credit as that, you know, you want your friends to see that. I remember the first time I saw my name up on the big screen, I was like, hey, I finally made it. I tell you, I invited all my friends to that cinema that day, and we packed it out. You know? Yeah. Okay, so moving along.
Yes.
You want the third question, is that right? Or
yep.
Okay, so how do you find and connect with influencers online?
So when it comes to influencers, those are people who have pull in the topic that you're discussing. So going back to the first out of again, we want to connect with and have on our team and on board with us the biggest players in the LGBT community. We're talking like Ellen DeGeneres. So not saying that we'll be able to get her attention, but we're certainly going to try. And the cool thing is that online capabilities of connecting with her are, there's multiple. There's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's websites, there's emails, there's forums. There are ways to try and connect with her online that more so than offline. But there are also key players who have huge networks online who would be considered influencers who can take your message and then spread it to their network of people. And again, this is for one specific type of target audience. So I know we're all busy. We all work 27 hours a day and 8 days, 9 days a week already, but it really is important to try and find these key players in all the different aspects of our target audiences. So some of the ways to do that are to simply search on Google and Bing about your topic and see who's talking about them. There's also and another recommendation is once you find them is to actually go and start connecting with them on their networks, because then they'll be more inclined to come onto your networks and connect with you. Again, that's going to take time, but having those connections and partners online is going to help you when you actually start implementing your campaigns and pushing to get a fan base. You can also do real-time searches. Socialmention.com is a really cool website that allows you to conduct searches that analyzes your brand ultimately. So if we go to Social Mention and type in some, search through all the different types of social media, and it'll come back with whether there's being positive things said, negative things, that's what the sentiment is. Apparently Warner Brothers is coming back with neutral sentiment, but it's also pulling out where Warner Brothers is being talked about on all these different websites. And you could actually go over here to the left and see who exactly is talking about Warner Brothers and connect with actual users online on a one-on-one basis. And look at that, the Ellen Show is talking about Warner Brothers. There you go. There you go. I think that's a sign.
I love this tool as well. That's an awesome tool there.
Yeah, and it also lets you, if you continue down, the hashtags that people are using when discussing Warner Brothers. So the first one is Starstruck. Quincy Jones is another one. So you can actually dig a little deeper and find out what these hashtags are that people are talking about and why those are so specific to your brand. And then it allows you to really connect with your users on a one-on-one level. And you can even, at the top up here, you can even narrow it down. So if you don't really care about images, then you can search for other things.
That's fantastic. And you know, when I first started doing the interviews that I'm doing now, the reason I did them was because when I would produce my second movie here in the Philippines, I saw so many people struggling with film finance, and I thought there's got to be a better way than this, and I needed help as well. You know, I just sold a condominium to finance one of my movies, and I didn't want to do that again. So I thought, you know, I have to find, to solve my problem, I have to find help, and I can share all that with other people. And the way I did it was I went to Amazon.com and I found authors who had written books about film finance. And I sent them emails saying, would you be willing to come on to an interview with us? And you know what? I was super surprised at how many people actually said yes without any hesitation.
Yeah.
And the more that I've been doing this with people like yourself, you know, almost nobody said no. And the only people that did said no because they're on location shooting a movie and they can't do it that week, but come back in 2 or 3 weeks' time and we'll talk again.
Yeah.
I know some people are very scared to approach experts and say, can you help or can you be part of our activity, whatever we're doing. But you know, these experts love being asked to help. I'm always being asked to talk at different promotions or different, you know, speaking engagements. And a lot of them I do for free, especially here in the Philippines, because we're trying to help so many people. And I love doing it. And I love touching the people and reaching out to the people. And I know that everyone else is in a similar position. So don't be scared to ask. You know, the worst that they can say is, no, sorry, I'm busy. So,
absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Another tool that I actually didn't put on here that you reminded me of is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a powerful professional tool where people will enjoy helping others because it builds on their resumes. So if you want to find and connect with people on LinkedIn too, it's a fantastic tool to use.
I totally agree. And actually, LinkedIn for me has been an incredible source. It's great for business to business. So if you're in that type of industry, LinkedIn is fantastic. If you're business to consumer, Facebook seems to be a much more powerful tool for me.
Yes.
But LinkedIn is a very professional level tool, and you're dead right. Great way of connecting with people.
Absolutely. So there's also another really awesome tool. Unfortunately, I just went to it today, and it's closing down July 31st. But you can see at the top that it gives you some other suggestions. This allows you to get a pulse of the community as it pertains to a particular topic. So let's just say our movie is about vampires, and we want to know what people are talking about when it comes to vampires. So we can type in vampires and do a search, and it pulls up actual updates on Facebook and Google and Twitter as to what people are saying about vampires. So this is another kind of secret detective undercover way to find more information about topics as it pertains to particular people. And I actually went and looked at some of these other suggestions at the top, and this other one, Topsy.com, is really cool. So if we do the same, this one pulls back all of these different, again, these different users and what they're talking about. And you can sort it by Google Plus or Twitter and really break it down. So I love getting the pulse of what people are saying online as it pertains to particular topics.
There's another tool that I use called Board Reader. Boardreader.com, and it does something similar, and it goes through bulletin boards and things like that and pulls out information for people, and it has a search bar, and you just type in your topic and it does the same kind of thing. So if the one that you're using is closing down, boardreader.com is also an option.
Fantastic. And what I like about the one that I have pulled up right now, socialsearcher.com, is that you can break it down into actual locations. So we can.
That's cool.
and really get a sense what they're talking about in California specifically. And the same with countries on Facebook and languages on Google+.
Excellent. And what's that tool you're using?
So that one, social-searcher.com. That's right up here at the top.
Okay, fantastic.
So these are, again, just real-time searches, ways to connect with people who are talking about your brand. You can actually see what if the users, if they have any clout in their communities, they're a great connection to have.
Awesome. And why is it so important to have these people with us?
So these are people that have networks of their own, and being able to share your campaigns. Let's just say it's a contest, and you are trying to promote your movie with a contest, but you need to get the word out about the contest. You can harness the power of these influencers online that you've already connected with. So, and to take that message and spread it out to their networks too. You are exponentially increasing the amount of exposure that you have just by connecting with these people. But also, some of these users are simply fans. And these are the people this is why we make the art that we do. It's for the people. And if we can connect with them on a level that is one-on-one, that shows that we are human, that we care, that's another fantastic way to connect with people online.
And maybe I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here, but what do you say to someone to get them to join you? I mean, you presumably can't just phone them up and say, hey, can you come and be part of my movie?
Yeah, it's a good question. It actually depends on who it is that you're contacting. And I like breaking down my influencers into a few different categories. There's the dreaming category. So the people who I dream about being connected with, like Angelina Jolie, she's a dream. I want to connect with her, but she's my dream. So the way that I talk to Angelina Jolie online is a lot different than what I would talk to in the other categories. So there's the people, there's the dreamers, there's the actuals, who are the people who I actually can hopefully connect with, and then there are the people who aren't necessarily influencers but are fans. So each one of those categories of people will have a different voice when reaching out to them, and ultimately, I mean, saying, hey, we're making a movie, it's going to be a really important film about gay rights and the way that gays are represented in professional sports. We want to get the word out, and we would love your help. We can offer you, this perk and this perk, or we can put your name in the credits, or we can do that. I mean, that kind of stuff goes a long way with fans who want to reach out and just learn more.
One of the ways I did it was because when I was approaching these people in Amazon, I felt that if I just called them up and said, can you help me and train me, that they would probably charge me, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 an hour for their advice.
Right.
So what I did in the end was I wrote them an email and said, can I help promote your book through an interview? And they all jumped on that and said, yes, of course you can promote my book. So we interviewed them about their film finance book, and they shared their tips within their book to promote their own product.
That's brilliant.
There's lots of different ways of doing it, and I totally agree with you. There's a lot of people out there who are very happy to help their advocacy or what it is they're trying to promote themselves, whether it be gay rights or, whether it be any subject you can think of. There's someone there trying to promote it, and all of these different people have their own different. Like for me, I love promoting anything about being an entrepreneur, because being an entrepreneur was what changed my life. When I left school at 16, unemployable, because school and I didn't get on very well. And I left with almost no qualifications and became an entrepreneur. And as a result, I've traveled the whole world and I've done amazing things. And for me, it's like a solution that I want to promote. This is how I changed my life, so you might want to do that as well or give it a try. And when people approach me and say, can you help us? I say, of course I can help you, no problem, because that's my advocacy. Yeah. And I actually think that being a filmmaker and being an entrepreneur are almost the same thing. It's like very similar processes that we go through. So
Absolutely.
Each one of us has our own little thing that we love, and if you approach us in the right way, you'll get support very easily. And if it is business to business, you know, just be a little creative about the way you approach people, and I'm sure you'll get some people in to join you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So
And just lastly on this way, these undercover methods are a great way to keep an eye on competitors as well, just to kind of see what they're up to and how they're connecting with people, and you know, just you gotta be sure that what you're doing is staying with the times. So
fantastic, and there's some great little tips there, and I know I'm going to use some of those websites that you were pointing out. I've not seen those before, and this is one of the things that I think is great about this kind of project that we're doing right now, where we talk to people. They do take us to places like you've just shown at least 3 websites that I've never heard of, and I've been online, you know, intensively for the last 8 years, I think, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So that's cool. So let's say we've got a product, we've got a movie that we want to start marketing. What's the best way to prepare before launching?
And there is a lot that we need to do before launching a social media campaign. The first and foremost is to have, of course, the fantastic pitch kit and business plan. And it's not essential, but once we put out these campaigns online, people are expecting to see a product. So if they're investors, or if they are, if they're people who want to get involved, we need to be sure that we have a pitch kit and a business plan ready to send off to them, as well as a teaser that really showcases our abilities. So either a teaser or a trailer so we can start pushing content onto our social media pages and through our campaigns. Otherwise, we need to have content in order to push out. Another thing that we can do is to have a legitimate plan. So this is where the strategy comes into play, and I have a few steps. This is definitely not the end-all be-all in a social media plan model, but this is something that I've used in the past that seems to work pretty well. So the first and foremost is to determine and specifically assess the specific target audiences. It's critical that we profile them. I know that kind of sounds bad, but it really honing in onto who those target audiences are, but also being able to assess what exactly our movie topic is about and how that is relevant, or how that is affecting our communities in today's world. So that's the first step. The second one is to create our team. We have to have really important people, we have to have really creative people on our teams when it comes to social media, because this is technology that's changing every day. And in order to stay current with developing campaigns, we have to be able to think outside the box and come up with some great campaigns. So that team, creative team, is very important, whether it's the director and producer and you know, the marketing and public relations and all like that type of group. Having the right team is very important. And then we come up with the actual strategy of social media. So we have these ideas for campaigns. We need to have, in order to know if the campaign is working, we have to have the goals and objectives before we actually start the campaign. So once we come up with our campaign goals, and that could simply be something like, we want traffic to our website to increase by 52%. And that's our goal. Our goal is simply an awareness campaign about our website, period. And if that's the campaign goal, then we can structure an appropriate campaign around it. So again, we specify that target audience exactly, really as niche as we can make it. We identify what tools that niche audience is using, because there are some tools out there in this world that I don't even know exists. I mean, there are so many online communities and websites and tools that I don't even know exist. So really doing the research around the target audience and finding out what they are doing online, And then based on the tools that the target audience is using and what that target audience is into, now we can create specific activities online to help push this campaign through. So once we have that, we have those activities and all of our goals laid out. Now we can actually go into the, okay, so who's going to do it and when are we going to get it done? Something to keep in mind is that if we push our social media campaign too early, by the time the movie's actually made and ready to be put out there, it might be like a year or two even. If it takes, sometimes it takes a long time. So by that time, some of our audiences may just be over it. So we need to be able to have that timeline laid out and the strategy laid out well in advance. So then we actually do the activities. We try the evaluation and debriefing. So when it comes to evaluating the overall campaign is the overall plan. And then we evaluate the action plan. So that's the activities that we decided to implement. And then we can go in and say, okay, we used Facebook. How well did that do as a tool itself within our campaign? And this is going to be a very fluid process, going back and changing the activities or going back and realizing that maybe that wasn't the best target audience or maybe those weren't the right tools to target that specific audience. That's okay. We can go back and try again and see what happens. It's a very fluid process. So then we regroup and then we tell our story. So that's the plan that I recommend utilizing while we're coming up with these social media campaigns.
So just to recap on that, because there was a lot of information there.
Yes.
One is set yourself measurable goals that can be measured using the tools that we have like Google Analytics or the Facebook Analytics and all those kind of things.
Yes.
So that you can see how you're doing. And then also have to have a team in place so that you can move in the correct time frame that you need to move in. And what was the third point you made at the end?
The campaign, I mean the strategy, knowing which tools your target audience is using specifically. That's
it, correct, yeah. To be in alignment with your target audience when it comes to using the social media. Like, for example, if all of your audience is on LinkedIn, why are you on Facebook?
Exactly.
Yeah, so use the correct tools. And, you know, again, referring back to the conversation I had with Georgia Hilton, who, you know, she was totally amazing with some of the ideas she came out with. She had specific goals that she put in place before she did certain things. For example, they wanted to raise $25,000 on Kickstarter. So what her goal was that she would have 1,000 interactive fans on Facebook before they launched Kickstarter.
Perfect.
And she didn't just want 1,000 fans, she wanted 1,000 interactive fans. And as we said earlier, they felt like they were part of the movie. So when they launched their campaign on Kickstarter, they raised the $25,000 in 2 weeks, and I mean the growth was just incredible, and it was amazing to see. So I think that solidifies exactly what you were saying.
Absolutely, that's perfect, and I love that so that would be a specific activity that helped to get to the overall goal. So she had this activity where she wanted to have the Facebook engaged Facebook fans, and that's brilliant.
And then the other thing she was saying as well, and I've heard this from a few people, like I was talking to Tom Malloy and Jason Brubaker last week, and they were saying that when you do your videos, don't make cheap videos, make them the same quality as the movie.
Yes.
Because this is what you're showing people to pull them in as investors, and if it's a piece of rubbish, you're going to go, this is it, this is what we're investing in.
Yeah.
So what you're doing pre-launch needs to be of the same quality, if not higher quality, than the actual movie itself.
Absolutely. It's so important. So important that people see what your abilities truly are.
All right, fantastic. So, yeah, you just showed the quick question there. What are some of the best practices for marketing movies with social media?
So I've got some tips just based on some of my own knowledge in marketing for movies. And the first one is to actually utilize these online tools to keep in contact with your amazing creative team that you've already developed. I can't tell you enough about Google. I love Google. I should be getting paid based on how much I talk about them, but they're brilliant. Their business plan is create awesome stuff that people can't ignore now and find a way to pay for it later. That's legitimately their business plan. So I highly recommend Google Drive. It's a free way to share your documents and to create documents with one another online. And again, free. It's like the cloud that you have, but you don't have to pay for it. Google Calendar lets you...
Can I just jump in? Talking about Google, so many people see Google as this big bad monster that's going to shut you down if you do anything wrong, and that is absolutely not the case. Google wants you to be successful because if you're successful, they're more successful.
Yes.
So all of the tips that they put out are actually designed to help you, not to shut you down. And all you have to do is comply with what they're doing, and they will accelerate your growth.
Absolutely. Google Calendar is fantastic if you haven't used it yet. There are ways that you can create specific calendars for each project and then have those dates be sent as an update, as a reminder, whether it's via email or text message. You can have that meeting or that due date be a reminder sent as a text message to your team. So that's all done for free with Google Calendar. I can't tell you enough how much I love their online tools. This is probably the most important part of the entire presentation, and that's that using traditional forms of marketing is not dead. It is social media is fantastic, and it reaches a huge audience, but that doesn't mean we can forget the rest of these marketing techniques. And honestly, email is still a thing. It's still real. Sending out email updates to fans is a great way to market your film. Putting ads in newspapers and on billboards and in journals and magazines and bus shelters, that is still a huge, important part of marketing a movie, as well as going and meeting people in person. Having webinars like, I mean, this isn't in person per se, but it's having webinars like this, being able to talk one-on-one with people, doing Q&As, going to mixers and networking with other people. It's very, very important. As you all know, when it comes to the movie business, it's who you know. So having that connection is critical. And then, postcards and posters and table tents and things like that. Traditional forms of marketing is critical for your film, as well as social media.
So true. I actually have friends who do not have Facebook accounts.
Yes.
And that is amazing. And my mom has never, ever sent an email. So there are these people who are just not connected online. I know it's amazing, but it really does exist.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to connect to those people as well.
Yeah, and it takes a whole new strategy when working with things like email updates and ads, and print advertisements. Like it's going to take a different strategy for that as well, with different target audiences and things like that. Finding ways to integrate traditional forms with online forms. So, taking a cool item like a bottle opener or a lighter, and then putting a QR code on it that takes people back to your website or a video or an application that they download that is about your movie. That's a really cool way to integrate these traditional forms of marketing with online and to create the basis for both of those. My next tip is to have one location for your teaser or trailer, and because then it keeps the counts consistent in that one location. And I recommend finding a way to post it on your website or on YouTube, because it'll probably find a way to get around on other platforms. But if you can try and keep the traffic moving towards one, it will increase your view counts on that one film. So being easily accessed is another important tip. And so that means if you have a website, it's pretty important that you have, and you have a Facebook, it's pretty important that you have your Facebook link on your website and your YouTube link on your website, or your Google Plus, or your Vine, or your Pinterest. All of that needs to be easy to access. Otherwise, your fans aren't gonna care anymore. They don't want to have to search too much to find you. Which leads me to the next point: is focus on your SEO, which is search engine optimization. If you're not on page 2 or 3 of those Google or Bing results, then you're not going to get found. So some ways that are really important on increasing your SEO is to register with Google and Bing. You can actually register your website with them, and you also creating outbound and inbound links helps raise that SEO too. So this is where you bring those allies that you made, those influencers that you made early on in the process. This is where it's really going to help you, because if you and them work on a blog together, let's say, and you're referencing their material and they're referencing your material, then every time those links are sent around on different sites, your search engine optimization is increased exponentially. So having those connections really helps you in the long run.
And these are awesome tips, Amelia. And I want to go back to one of the things that you're talking about just now, which was Google.
Mm-hmm.
Until recently, I was using GoToWebinar, which is where I talked to Matthew as well.
Yeah.
And first of all, GoToWebinar is horrendously expensive. I think it was nearly $500 a month. And
wow.
I was limited to about only 100 people at a time, so that there were huge restrictions.
Right.
Google have transformed the way we communicate and connect with each other, and they've now launched Google Hangouts. And Google Hangout is free, and this is what we're using today, Google Hangout. And we have this amazing system where we can see each other and talk in real time. And what's cool about Google Hangouts is the title of this Hangout today is called How to Market a Film with Social Media. The words how to market a film are the keywords that I'm using in my site for search engine optimization. So I'm trying to target the keyword how to market a film. Google are presently ranking Hangouts higher than normal YouTube videos. And as maybe the audience don't know, but what's happening at the end of this video is that Google will automatically upload this to YouTube, and as I say, they rank it higher than normal videos. So I should see, you know, and you can check it in the next few days, I should see a very high ranking with this video on the keyword how to market a film.
Brilliant.
And Google is amazing. They are providing amazing tools, and the connectivity and linking together is awesome with them.
Absolutely. I love Google.
And of course, I've just saved myself $500 a month.
Yeah, which is a big deal.
Big deal.
Google, love them.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. It's absolutely true, and it helps. It helps. Every little bit helps on when trying to get that your website in the first couple pages of Google and Bing. So my last tip, some best practices, is to harness your fan base. Once you've built up your fans and you've made your contests, you have people who really care about you, and you responding to them is also really important because they want to feel like they are a part of your movie. Just like I can remember her name. What's her name that you were talking about, Tim?
Georgia Hilton.
Just like she did, Georgia, with her film, bringing her fans into the film, making them feel part of it, is a huge component of the generation that we live in now. The young up and coming, millennials that they're called, they want to feel like they are the president of the company. They want to feel like they have a stake in the product. So if you bring them on and make them feel that way, they will be some of your biggest advocates that out there. And another really interesting way to harness that power is to create something called a street team. So when you have these fans who are super active for you, being able to offer them perks for doing things to help boost your campaigns offering them prizes, offering them experiences, offering them potentially days on set. So in return for sharing your campaigns or connecting with you or, you know, handing out postcards or doing those types of marketing activities, those people will feel even more connected with your film.
Well, you know, you just mentioned something there that I was just going to talk about. And I know Matthew is with you, and if he's lurking in the background, he's welcome to join us. Matthew was saying to me that they're actually going to have a baseball day where they invite some people to the set and they hang out with them and play baseball with the crew.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just think that's an awesome thing to do. And you imagine handing them all a T-shirt that said, I just played baseball with the first out, and they wear that and they're going home or something like that. And
yes.
This is them advertising the film, and people are going to say, yes. What's this? What is this that you're talking about? What's on your T-shirt?
Yeah.
And I think it's a brilliant idea. And I'm certainly going to implement that in my coming projects.
I love that. Yeah. Offering those experiences and having your fans be your street team, your billboard for you. I mean, and it's awesome.
Because I don't know if you know, but I've been involved in event management and show production for 22 years. And the Philippines is one of those countries where we have a show for everything. It's really an amazing country for shows. And getting your audience to be part of your product is what makes show production so successful now, is that once upon a time, you could see an advert on a TV that would say product A is better than product B. Well, that doesn't work anymore. People want to see it, they want to touch it, they want to feel it, they want to play with it, they want to interact with it, and they want to take information home and be involved in the product.
Yeah.
And we do product launch after product launch after product launch and just invite people so they can be emotionally attached to the product. And I think this is what, you know, this is great what Matthew's going to be doing with them.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So absolutely awesome. So let's just recap quickly because we're nearly at the end of the hour.
Yeah.
Going back over the 5 different stages, the first point was about branding. Just in a one sentence, what's so important that we should do with branding?
It's important to keep your brand consistent across the different channels on social media and have it be a recognizable brand or image in order so people can recognize it immediately. And the name, also the name has to be consistent across the different channels as well.
Fantastic. And then when it comes to marketing online, your tip for that? Which is our second point.
Yes.
How do you cater marketing campaigns online?
Yeah, so having a home base where people can go for more information, that's a critical component of the marketing process. I'm trying to remember what else we talked about.
Okay. And then your third point was about connecting with influencers online.
Yep, being able to reach out to allies who are important in the topics of your film, so important people online in the topics of your film. Those influencers will be your allies throughout the process and will be those fans later that can be your street team and will help you spread your campaigns and your contests and your messages across their networks, and it'll be huge for your reach.
Okay, and then fourthly, the best way to prepare before launching. What's your takeaway from
Create a
that?
plan. Have a very detailed strategy around your campaign, your target audience, the tools that you're going to be using, and how you plan on showing that, on evaluating that campaign is working. So having that all laid out ahead of time on a very detailed timeline and assigning roles to your teammates.
Awesome. And then finally, what are some of the best practices for marketing movies in social media?
Just a few is, the most important is use traditional forms of marketing. Social media is great, but it's not the end-all be-all. There are plenty of audiences out there who do not utilize social media, and those people are just as important as the ones who do.
All right, awesome. Well, we managed to survive our very first Google Hangout with Amelia Belle. And it's been an awesome experience. I was really nervous this morning because Amelia and I were actually having connection problems. We couldn't get together. But it all came together. It all worked. And I want to thank all of the people who have attended the live Google Hangout with us. I know there's a few of you. I apologize for any technical problems that we've had, but as I say, it's the first time we've ever used this software and it's all new to us. I know that the chat box is not working correctly as it should be, and we'll get that all sorted out for the next one. And if you do have any questions that you want Amelia or I to help you out with, you can send them directly to Amelia or to me at tim@argon.com.ph. And Amelia, what's your email address?
It's on the screen right now. It's amelia@bellehammer.com, or please feel free to Facebook message me on facebook.com/Miss Amelia Belle. Again, it's on the screen right now.
Okay, and I just want to confirm, your email address has a capital A, is that correct?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It can be capital or lowercase.
Okay, just confirming. Good, so there you are. You can connect with either of us either way, and Amelia will be sending me a PDF gift for you all later, and to everybody that's been registered, I will send that out to you within the day. And then to all those people who are listening in the replay, if you'd like to get a copy of that, just send it to tim@argon.com.ph. I want to thank everyone for being here. Amelia, you're an awesome star. Matthew, thank you for introducing me to Amelia.
You're welcome.
Good, good. And Amelia, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge with us and spending your time. And I hope you'll come back again with us soon as well.
I would love to, anytime.
And maybe you could be our resident social media expert.
I love it.
For the Film Finance Club. Yep.
Love it.
Cool. So thank you very much. I appreciate everyone being here. Any questions, you know where to contact us. What happens now is this video will be uploaded to YouTube automatically. Should be ready shortly. I will send everybody a link so that you can see it there. It will be available without any restrictions for the next few days. And then after that, I make the video private and I put it into my members area. And it'll only have access through the members area. And I've got a members area, argonet.com. And it's only $1 a month at the moment. So to the first 100 people. So, you know, it's not going to kill you. You're welcome to join me there. And we have presently, I think, about 9 or 10 different videos in audio, video, and transcription format, which is also what will happen to this. So you're welcome to join us. And there's a whole plethora of information about film finance on my site. I love that word, plethora. So, Amelia, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all again soon. Take care. This is Tim Bennett from argonet.com, and we've been talking with the one and only Amelia Belle about how to market a film with social media. Thanks for joining us.